Live from downtown Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. Wine, cider, and song brought to you by Wild Elder Wine and Cider Company.
Old Wild Elder came down from the mountain, said the secret of youth ain't found in no fountain. If you want to feel spry, we pass the age of 99. You gotta have a daily chug of Wild Elderberry wine. You gotta drink it dry. Elderberry wine. You gotta drink it dry. Wild Elderberry wine. You gotta drink it dry. Elderberry wine. And it'll probably cure what ails you. Took my wife to the doctor because she had some sneezes. The doctor said, hey, I think she's coming down with some diseases. The doctor says, hey, I know just how to fix her up. And he handed me a bottle of elderberry syrup. Just a spoonful at a time will make you feel fine. A teaspoon a day will keep the doctor away. But if you really want to feel divine, you gotta wash it down with some elderberry wine. Gotta drink it dry. Elderberry wine. You gotta drink it dry. Wild elderberry wine. You gotta drink it dry. Elderberry wine is it'll probably cure what ails you. Drink it dry. Elderberry wine. You gotta drink it dry. Wild elderberry wine. You gotta drink it. Wild elderberry wine. And it'll probably cure what ails you.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wine, Cider, and Song. Tonight we got Doug Makofka, and he wrote that jingle just for us here at the Wild Elder. Thanks, Doug.
My pleasure. I don't have many singer-songwriter accordion songs. So
Yeah.
a little out of necessity.
That'll be a fun one to get the free-range folk on.
I think so.
So, let's see. Doug wanted to, one of the first songs that we ever collaborated on, it was Free Range Folk. Free Range Folk, our last record, Doug joined us right as we were wrapping up recording. And we had a couple of songs. This one that I wrote about Jim Thorpe, the town Jim Thorpe. It's called Singing to the Choir. And let's see here. I got a little screen here. There we go. So Singing to the Choir, kind of, I like to talk about, the song and how it was written and stuff.
It's about my backyard, basically.
Yeah. I was in your backyard when I started writing it. I was walking my son in a off-road buggy. And when I want to write a song, I usually say, I'm going to write a song. And then the next day, I'm like, I'm going to write a song pretty soon. And then the next day, I'll be like, that song's coming. But I keep telling myself every day, I'm going to write a song. And that day, I had I heard the waterfall through the woods there, and we had just moved into the place a few months ago, and I was just really feeling, happy to be back in Jim Thorpe, surrounded by all these wonderful creative people, and we had our band, and so this next song called Singing to the Choir. It's basically about living in Jim Thorpe and singing to the choir because there's so many creative folks here that we're just surrounded by artists and creative folks that, you know, that's where that part came from. I got to grab my guitar real quick, Doug.
Sure.
Do you want to tell them what we're drinking while I get that?
Well, at the moment, what I'm drinking is elderberry wine, and I know I've never felt better. But this was the first thing we collaborated on, and I've always, admired, songs that were about a place, about California, West Virginia, and I thought it was really great that we had one about this part of Pennsylvania. So, yep, it's a good song to collaborate on.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna pick that camera and that camera, or how about that camera and that camera? No, look at that one and that one. All right. Singing to the choir. I hear the water falling, Glenanoco, from the hill behind Juanita Hotel, with these broken beer bottles and quad throttled trails, still one of the prettiest sights I've ever known. It's here where I married Amber Briner. It's here where we said we will. It's now where I'm walking our newborn baby boy and moving along like a snail. Sometimes the falls sound like fire, and I feel that I'm walking on a wire. Sometimes the grass is green, but sometimes it's brown. But this is our home, and I'll see you around. See you around, this is our hometown. See you around, oh, but maybe not today, but some evening soon. We'll dust off to telly and look at the craters on the moon. Well, Jimmy, he's resting in the valley near the Sleeping Bear and the Pisgah Plain. He was the best beer drinking Olympian this world's ever seen, but they wouldn't let him win, 'cause he's an Indian, yeah. See you around, this is But some evening soon, we sit around the fire, look at the craters on the moon. Well, Huber's on a highway peddling chicken, and Kevin's on his tractor shaping beds. Sean's casting flies into the Lehigh, and Coupe's in a cellar making wine. And Brad's cutting the grass down by Asa Packer. Yeah, my buddies are shooting hoops at Double R. And Doug is busking down by the courthouse. Tourists are stuffing all their dollars in his jar. And the mountain laurel blooms, the foliage catches fire. Free range folks singing to the choir. 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 Nice, Doug. That was enjoyable.
Yeah. It's the first time we've done it like that.
Yeah. It's always good to change it up a little bit. So, Doug's a big bourbon drinker, and I bought him I brought a bottle of Insurrection's, a local distillery right down the road from Jim Thorpe, that makes a really good rye whiskey, in my opinion, and it marries well, really well. I think it's a marriage made in heaven with our elderberry syrup. So I call it the Eldermeister, and I think, let's see, we got a shot there on the, behind Doug there is the, you can see I was dipping into it already there, but let me put this down real quick, Doug.
Yep.
So, Doug was telling me earlier that he wrote this apocalypse song many years ago, and back in 1982.
I think so. It was right around there.
So what apocalypse was happening back then?
You know, I was trying to remember, you know, maybe it was, I don't know, were the Iran hostages then? I don't know, Iran-Contra? It's probably something. It may have even been something local, I don't know.
Yeah. It seems like there's always one about to happen. Mayan calendar, what was the last one, I think?
Yep. Yeah. All all sorts of places we could go.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do know is every single one of them that's ever been predicted has been wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Changes around here. Woke up from a night of sleeping. My eyes open to a dream. Sun was dark, but there was seeing. Though that did not comfort me. I can see it in their faces. I can see it in their eyes. Questions, doubts, and expectations. Fears created by the wise. I can see the bright ones coming, running through the gates of time. Through the darkness they are running. What are those they do not find? I get up and walk down Main Street. Visions still are haunting me. Blank expressions on their faces. Aimless wandering of their feet. I can see it in their faces. Can't you see it in their eyes? Fear so real that you can't taste it. You don't have to read their minds. I can see the bright ones coming, running through the gates of time. Through the darkness they are running. What are those they do not find? What are those they do not find? What are those they do not find?
Yeah. Nice, Doug. What were you listening to back in those days? Do you remember?
Well, a lot of like acoustic guitar, some a lot of Jesus music.
Yeah.
There were some good guitar players back then.
Yeah. Well, who did you like? Who did you?
Well, there's one guy named Randy Stonehill that I think I learned like his whole album almost string for string because it was he was doing some nice stuff. Here.
Randy Stonehill.
Yeah, I should probably work on that before I put it out. But that's the idea. That gives you the idea of what it's doing.
Okay.
But that one I had the guitar part for, and then I had to figure out a lyric around that.
Oh, the one that you wrote the guitar part first on that last one. What? I remember when we talked about doing the show, and you shared it on Facebook. You're like getting a little bit out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But
well, this sort of the solo singer-songwriter thing isn't like what I do. But, maybe, like I said, it's not a bad thing to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. You send me recordings on a pretty regular basis of, the Anoko Gnome Blues Orchestra, for instance. That's Doug's solo project. That's he pretty much produces out of his cabin in the woods, and you've collaborated on. We talked last week on John Ambrose's album, and you wrote that wonderful jingle for the winery. I love it.
That was fun.
Yeah, Matt Filer also did a Elderberry song for the show.
I like that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening that night where he brought it out, and I saw he has it up on the Cantilever stream too.
Yep. He wants me to put some banjo on it this week.
There you go.
So, yeah. What else you got for us, Doug?
Oh. So maybe I thought we'd go from apocalypse to a love song.
Okay.
I don't love this tuning. All right, that's a little better. Foxes at the Chickens. Foxes at the chickens, they were strutting so proud out in the yard. Maybe they won't break out twice tomorrow, just sit back and watch them squawk. Foxes at the chickens, so far those birds have him outfoxed. Best show I've had all season, maybe I'll just spot him one for the effort. At the chickens, oh, when you coming home, I hated sitting on the farm tending chickens all alone. Oh, the scene's serene, and oh, the grass is green, and oh, my heart's a hue of missing you. Is that the chickens? There's a chance we'll lose them all, but I'm too drunk to make a difference. Maybe it's quail eggs from now on.
Cool. I've been farming chickens for a long time. When I was little up in Whitehaven, we had chickens and pigs. Mm-hmm. And one day, when I was a college student at Kutztown, I rented a farmhouse on 450 acres of farmland, and my uncle lived just over the hill behind me, and he's like. And the one day, out of the blue, he's like, "Hey, do you want some chickens?" And I'm like, "Sure, yeah. I'd love some chickens." And the next day, when I woke up, there was roosters crowing in my yard. He dropped off like 12 chickens in the middle of the night in this like dog kennel that was, on one of the outbuildings. And and now we got chickens again. It's great.
Well, so you got chickens up at your place, and my wife Lisa was saying she wanted chickens, and I was sitting on the back porch thinking about the fox that comes across every night on the trail cam, thinking, this is a good idea.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah, we lost some chickens over the years, and it's sad when it happens. So, what do you got? What else you got, Doug? Are you ready for a little whiskey yet? Or?
Sure. This might be
Good for a little whiskey.
Yeah. Before I get another accordion back.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's one more guitar songs.
Okay. You play that. I'll pour you a whiskey.
All right.
All right.
I don't want to be a cowboy. Hate hard saddles, warm beer, and bad food. But I'd gladly be a cowboy if I could ride out with a cowgirl like you. So I was drinking sleeping bear territory. Wild Wonder was behind the bar. She said she might could use her a cowboy, one that didn't ride off too often or far. Now I look like an East Coast liberal hippie, but I've had my fence riding days for sure. And I'll switch up my hat and pull on some chaps, put my boots in the stirrups for her. And I don't want to be a cowboy. I hate hard saddles, warm beer, and bad food. But I'd gladly be a cowboy if I could ride out with a cowgirl like you. She came from a long line of cowgirls. She knew how to be at home on the range. But this town was becoming just like a city, so perhaps it was time for a change. So together we rode out to the mountains 50 miles out from the plains, where the water we still get snowed in the winter, and the waterfalls howl when it rains. I don't want to be a cowboy. I hate hard saddles, warm beer, and bad food. But I'd gladly be a cowboy if I could ride out with a cowgirl like you. If I could ride out with a cowgirl like you.
Nice song, Doug. I like that one. I remember when you sent me that one. That's a nice song. Cheers.
Cheers. The elixir tones down the cut from the rye a bit.
Yeah.
Good blend.
Yeah. I wish I had better tumblers. But
I don't know. This hits the spot.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's see here. If you want a good local rye whiskey, I recommend Insurrection Distillery right here in Lehighton. They have a bunch of good stuff. I just had their Applejack the other day, and that's an old family recipe. The guy that's making the Applejack now said it was his grandfather's. So, Doug, the accordion runs back in your family quite a bit. Want to give us a little history?
So my dad plays accordion. And then out in western PA, his dad sort of had a band that played on the local radio. And so I had an uncle, I guess it would be a great uncle that played accordion. So at one point when we did a move and Dad said, "Hey, want to play accordion?" I said, "Sure." So, so we've been playing ever since.
Cool. So
Dad fixes them too.
Tell them about that one that you got there.
So, Dad fixes accordions and he buys them and sells them. So he had this one, and it was, Roe is not an accordion name. As it turns out, Roe is the name of an accordion school, and the accordion was made by somebody else. So he picked it up off of eBay, and when he went through it, found out it was a rather interesting accordion. So probably the easiest way to explain it is when you push a key, there's an opening normally that comes this way, so the sound comes out the front. And some accordions have sound that comes out the front and a little arm that lips up and opens holes over reeds inside the accordion. But this one, all of the reeds are inside the accordion. So I'm going to trade him. I'm going to trade him one of my other accordions that I'm not playing, and probably use this one. It needs played in still a bit, but I like the sound.
Are you going to do the Lily song?
Yeah, Red Road Lily. So the trick's going to be to get through this one. This is about our dog Lily that had to put down unexpectedly.
Sad song.
I have to remember it too. That's the other glitch. Red Road Lily was a real young lass. She should stood but 4'3", but she was fierce as any old mate that ever sailed the sea. Lily lost her mother at the tender age of 5. The keepers of the Red Road Tavern kept that child alive. When Willie she did come of age, she chose to sail the sea. She could have sailed with anyone, but she chose to sail with me. We started as a merchant ship, we plied the world for trade. But then the bloody years began and soldiers we became. Once Vikings they did storm the ship while Lily was a watch. She dispatched them to Valhalla ere we arrived on deck. We left the sea for good, we said, when war was at an end. Then pirates burned our village and we sailed to track them down. Lily should have died in battle, but the fates would not have it so. They wove together one afternoon and caused a wind to blow. It snapped the foremast at the top gallant, and quick it reached its goal. It crushed brave Willie's chest as it pierced right through my soul. Rest well, Red Road Lily, may the wave walks you to be. My heart will always mourn the one that sailed, chose to sail with me.
Man. Yeah.
We'll have to do this again sometime when I have it fully learned.
Well, that was a beautiful song, and
Well, thank you.
that thing, that accordion sounds really nice too.
Yep. I think it's a keeper.
Yeah. Well, we had, another good turnout. I want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. And I want to say, if you didn't know already, we make an elderberry elixir. Doug sang about it tonight. Doug's been getting it for a while now, and in there we have fresh elderberries. We make everything we make with elderberries is we use whole fruit, not juice or dried fruit. It's whole fruit. Right now I've got about a half a ton of elderberries in the freezer, and the elderberry syrup also has fresh ginger, organic cloves, organic cinnamon, and local raw honey from Rodale. My cousin's a beekeeper down at the Rodale Institute, which is a big. Do you know about the Rodale Institute? Oh, yeah. It's a 333-acre experimental farm where they do all kinds of experiments with different organic practices and stuff like that. So you can get that honey here too at our tasting room. I want to thank Doug again for joining us and sharing. So Doug, when you were young, do you remember when you kind of got the bug to want to learn music, or?
Yeah, well, it sort of wasn't a bug as much as it was, just sort of breathing the air, because I think I was jealous of my cousins playing, so I was taking lessons like by the time I was in kindergarten.
Okay.
Which means I should be a lot better than this by now, but but yeah, and
you're if you haven't, well, if you go to Bandcamp and you click on and you search for Anoko Gnome, like Glen Anoko Gnome Blues Orchestra, and you check out Doug's got a couple songs on there, and it's kind of like wall of sound kind of stuff. That's
but it's
really nice.
It's like some of these. It's you sometimes it's all inspiration and you get inspired and you do stuff, and sometimes it's like, let's set myself a project and see what happens, right? So tonight was definitely a project, but if you are looking to get into songwriting or expanding what you're doing, that's not a bad way to do it. Pick a song that you really like and imitate it, or change the words or change the melody. And I was certainly thinking about all the stuff that I would normally play on accordion. That's not my stuff. So, and then morphed some of that into some of the stuff I did. So
cool. Well, I think we should go out with the Willie's tune.
All right, there's a surprise.
Yeah. Doug has what year is your Willie's?
It's a 62.
He's got a 62 Willie's Overlander, right?
Yeah, station wagon.
Station wagon.
Yeah.
And when I first met Doug, that's what he was cruising around in. I was like, man, there goes that cool dude again in that awesome truck.
So this song actually sort of came from two things that were happening around the same time. One was I sort of put the Willies together and said to my wife Lisa, let's just take her out, because I thought it stopped and started and everything. Well, it ran fine, but what I didn't realize was the brake line to the back brakes was clogged. So while the pedal was hard in the driveway, the brakes weren't at their optimum. So I went, and if you know where the Lehigh Gorge is, normally you come up the hill and go down into the gorge, but from where I live, you come down and it's like a 360 hairpin downhill into the gorge. And so we said, well, let's take it down there. Nobody will be there. We can open it up, see what it does. Yeah. And so I got basically, it started around the turn and hit the brakes and nothing happened. And so like we were, you know, at this point I'm off the seat, both feet standing on the pedals, and finally we made it around the curve, but but it was fun. And then it was before they closed 93 to truck traffic, and everybody was blowing through the intersection and taking out that poor guy's garage across 209. So those things came into the Willie's song.
Okay.
Well, you've heard of sweet Melissa. It's been a long, long time since she left me at the altar after saying she'd be mine. Now she's coming to the station. Her train should be on time. And if I'm there to meet her, she promised to be mine. Promised to be mine. Promised to be mine. And if I'm there to meet her, she promised to be mine. Promised to be mine. Promised to be mine. And if I'm there to meet her, she promised to be mine. So I fired up the Willie's. Downtown we go. That Willie's never let me down, come winter, rain, or snow. But half a mile from Nesky, coming down that hill, that 50-year-old Willie started popping out of gear. Popping out of gear. Popping out of gear. That 50-year-old Willie started popping out of gear. Popping out of gear. Popping out of gear. That 50-year-old Willie started popping out of gear. Well, I had to put the brakes on, had to go real slow. That Willie, she was telling me I really shouldn't go. So we hung a U-E, headed right back up that hill. Never heard from sweet Melissa, guess I never will. Guess I never will. Guess I never will. Never heard from sweet Melissa, I guess I never will. Guess I never will. Guess I never will. Never heard from sweet Melissa. I guess I never will. Well, I'll go back to Rosie. Rosie does just fine. My Willie's goes through every gear with Rosie all the time. But Rosie knows the secret. She can't be my girl. And so I'm looking for someone to make my Willie's whirl. Oh, make my Willie's whirl. Make my Willie's whirl. I'm looking for some pretty little girl to make my Willie's whirl. Make my Willie's whirl. Make my Willie's whirl. I'm looking for some pretty little girl to make my Willie's whirl.
Doug, it's been a pleasure, and
Thanks.
It's been a pleasure sharing the stage with you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Me too, man. It's like one of the highlights of my existence.
We're always like right next to each other, and it's like it's a good time. I'm so glad that you joined the folk.
Well, it's been my privilege for sure.
Do you want to? I want to thank everybody again at home, and thanks for tuning in. Next week we have Tom Storm and Matt Miskey. Tom's a local guy. When my kids ask me what my favorite superhero is, I always think Tom Storm. So Tom Storm will be on next week with Matt Miskey, he's a hard-working musician, great guitar player, singer, songwriter, and why don't you take us out with a little instrumental there, Doug?